Good day everyone, welcome to another episode of Archivlogs. For today's lesson, we will talk about the structural system. For today, we will just be introducing the concepts of the structural system. You will get to know the detailed discussions of the structural in your higher design later on. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, click the subscribe button for more interesting contents and extra points. So first, let's discuss the foundation system. We have the so-called deep and shallow foundation. So shallow foundation, these are the typical foundations like for your residences and everything, while the deep foundation employs the use of piling. So shallow foundation are employed when stable soil of adequate bearing capacity occurs relatively near the ground surface. So ano yung iba't ibang klase ng shallow foundation? We have your individual or isolated footings, spread footings supporting freestanding columns and piers. You have your block or square footing. Ito yung typical. If makikita mo, you have step footing, pyramidal footings. You also have your strip footings, continuous spread footings of foundation walls, are step footings. So, para siyang stair type. Strip footings that change levels to accommodate a sloping grade and maintain the required depth at all points around a building. So, yun yung strip footing. Combined footings naman, if you have two columns, tapos iisa lang yung kanilang footing. So, footing is so designed that the center of gravity of the combined loads passes through the center of gravity of the footing area. Combined column footings are usually rectangular or trapezoidal in shape. So, you have in here, makikita mo dito sa slides, meron siyang illustration. And we also have yung tinatawag na cantilevered footings. Ito naman, ginagamit pag nakasagad yung column mo doon sa property line. You have firewall in there. Makikita mo sa drawing, meron doon siyang label na property line. So, cantilever footings ang gagamitin mo doon. We also have your continuous footing. And then, mat or rough foundation. Ito yung isahan or monolithic. Continuous footings are used on soil of low bearing power where there is a tendency towards unequal settlement due to unequal loading of soil. So yan, mat foundation may be divided into the following general classes: flat slab, beams or girder with slab underneath, beams or girders with slab on top. So steel grillage foundation, this is another advanced type of foundation. So dito naman tayo sa deep foundation. So ito, deep foundation are employed when the soil underlying a shallow foundation is unstable or inadequate soil bearing capacity. So ito, a file foundation is a system of end-bearing or friction piles, file caps, and tie beams for transferring building loads down to a suitable bearing stratum. So usually, itong mga piling na foundation, ito yung mga usual na ginagamit sa construction ng ating mga bridges. So, ipapiling siya, i-auger siya doon sa lupa. So, to get a more sturdy foundation. So, we have end-bearing files, friction files. Ito, friction files na introduce ito sa Burj Al Arab na design. You can just Google that one or in YouTube video on the construction of the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. So, we also have your Carson foundation, cast in place, plain or reinforced concrete piers formed by boring with a large auger or excavating by hand a shaft in the earth to a suitable bearing stratum and fill the shaft with concrete. So foundation walls, basement construction and cisterns. So we have in here illustration of this one. Yan, basement wall. If nakita nyo kung ano yung kino-construct doon sa likod ng Capitol, itong mga ganitong construction methodologies na employ doon, lalo na pag nagbe-basement sila. So if you have time to pass by along the Ilocos Norte Provincial Capital, makikita mo to, or even doon sa Marcos Stadium, makikita mo tong ganitong mga constructions. So now let's move on to your reinforced concrete column or yung RC na tinatawag, reinforced concrete. So meron tayong tinatawag na short and long columns. So short columns occur when the unsupported height is not greater than 10 times the shortest lateral dimension of the cross-section, while the long columns occur when the unsupported height is more than 10 times the shortest lateral dimension of the cross-section. So what are the types of RC columns? We have your tied columns. These are columns with longitudinal bars and lateral ties. Yan. So ito usually ginagamit natin to sa ating residential. The simplest, the standard type of column. So yan, makikita mo dyan, yan yung reinforcement niya. So this is the section. Ito naman, spiral columns. Ito madalas ginagamit. Circular siya in section, tapos yung reinforcement niya is spiral. Usually ginagamit nga ito sa mga bridges, tsaka sa mga skyway. So we also have your composite columns, combined columns, yung lally columns. Yung lally columns naman is a combination. Fabricated steel pipes provided with flat steel plates which holds a girder or girth and is filled with grout or concrete to prevent corrosion. So we also have your dowel bars. Short bars used to transfer the stress at the bottom of the columns to the footing. When dowel bars are used, there should be at least a dowel bar for each column bar. We have your reinforced concrete floor systems. Ito na yung tinatawag ng slab. Ano ang suspended slab? So meaning, pag suspended yung slab, nakataas siya. Walang bumubuhat sa kanyang soil. Binubuhat lang siya ng columns and beams. Kaya siya suspended. Reinforced concrete floor slab, suspended. Meron tinatawag na one-way. So we have your one-way slab. Mostly commonly used type of reinforced concrete construction. Ito din yung tinatawag na beam and girder floor. Yan. So, ganyan. Yung so yung suspended slab natin na one way, binubuhat siya ng mga beams and girders sa taas. So, yung one-way joist or rib slab naman, for medium span lengths with light or medium live loads, rib slabs have proved to have an economical type of floor construction. We also have your two-way slab. So when a floor panel is square or nearly so, having beams or walls on four sides, it is generally economical to use two sets of reinforcing bars. So both ways, may horizontal to the vertical. These bars in two directions transfer the loads to the four supporting beams or wall. So yung two-way slab, yun din yung tinatawag na slab supported on four sides. So what are the other types of a two-way slab? We also have waffle slab. The waffle slab is used to be able to carry heavier loads and span longer distances than flat slab para maging lightweight din yung slab. So two-way flat plate is a concrete slab of uniform thickness reinforced in two or more direction and supported directly by columns without beams or girders. Meron din tinatawag na two-way flat slab. So, a flat slab is a flat plate taken at its column supports to increase its shear strength and moment resisting capacity. Yan, that's the example. Now, dumako naman tayo doon sa reinforced concrete beams. So, what are those? Ito ang tinatawag na biga. So, a beam may be defined as a structural member resting on supports, usually at its end, which supports transverse loads. So the loads that act on the beam as well as the weight of the beam itself tend to bend rather than lengthen or shorten it. So ito subject to compression and tension, yung ating beam. So ito yung nagbubuhat dito, tapos nagta-transfer yung loads doon sa columns. So, ganun yung relationship nila. Yan. Splicing details. Lintel beam details. Bond beam. Ang lintel beam, ito usually yung ginagamit sa taas ng mga doors and windows. Yung maliit na beam doon, ang tawag doon is lintel beam. Ang bond beam naman, usually makikita mo ito sa mga fencing at retaining wall. Yan. We also have a typical footing tie beam elevation. Meron ka ding section nito na binigay ko dun sa PDF copy. So, may iba-iba tayong klaseng beam. We have your simple beams. Beams having a single span with support at each end, there being no restraint at the supports. Meron naman yung cantilever beam. These are beams that are projected at one end only or iisa lang yung support nito, tapos naka-float lang siya. So that's your cantilever beam, or they may be that portion of beams projecting beyond one of its supports. And then we also have your continuous beams. These are beams resting on more than 2 supports. So, ano yung mga other types of reinforced concrete beams? We have your T-beam, beam with compression reinforcement, cantilever beams, hollow box girders, beam brackets or corbels. Ito, usually ito, yung mga corbel, nilalagay siya sa taas ng columns para magbuhat ng trusses. So, yun yung usual na use nila. So, we also have your roof decks, yun yung parapets, yun yung slabs. Yan, walls and structural walls. Ito, yung we have bearing wall, curtain, foundation wall, retaining wall, and then the spandrel wall. So, this is your typical section of column. So that's it. That's the introduction of the structural system. So hi everyone, I will be discussing today on how to do your structural drawing, particularly your foundation plan and your roof framing plan. So as we discussed in the presentation, everything starts with the architect. So the architectural. Nagsisimula lahat dito sa floor plan. So all you need to do is i-base ninyo yung foundation plan and your roof framing plan doon sa floor plan. I will simulate foundation plan and roof framing plan drawing using the AutoCAD software. So I have in here, this is now my base plan. This is the architectural floor plan. Now let's move to the structural. So anong una? If makikita mo dito, I only have the columns na nakaplot and then grid lines. So ito naman, meron lang siyang columns and yung outline ng aking roof. So first, dito muna tayo. We need to do our foundation plans. So this is already pre-drawn. I-on and off ko lang yung layering niya. So una, i-drawing mo muna yung foundation. So that's it. Yan yung pundasyon niya. So etong hidden line na to, naka-hidden line to because that's below ground. Ito yung sukat ng iyong excavation o yung huhukayin mo. So this one measures 1.2 by 1.2. So what is this one? Ano yung C1, F1? So, ang meaning niyan is column 1, footing 1. So, lahat ng naka C1, F1 magkakaparehas. Except for this one. Meaning, iba yung column nito kasi column 2, footing 1. So, with this one, column 1, footing 2, meaning, yung footing nito is smaller. Kasi nga, hindi naman siya nagbubuhat ng ganong kabigat na load. So this one is 0.8 by 1.10. Ito yung nasa carport. Kasi yung carport is a separate The carport is a separate entity of your main building. And then, ito naman is the representation of your slab and grade. So, ito na yung slab mo. And this one is the specification kung gaano kakapal yung slab mo. So, ayan. Ito, yung representation ng mga bakal na gagamitin. And then, ito yung specification. Ganon din dito, yung slab and grade. Ito yung representation ng bakal doon sa slab. And then, ito yung specification kung gaano kakapal yung slab at kung ano yung gagamitin doon sa slab. So, when we're done with this one, if nasettle mo na yung iyong foundation or yung excavation, isusunod mo ngayon yung footing tie beam. So, ano yung footing tie beam? So, actually, the footing tie beam is para siyang belt ng iyong buong structure. If makikita mo ito, itong blue na to, FTB1, FTB2. Meaning, kailangan mo pagdugtong-dugtugin yung columns mo so that it will be sturdier. So that if meron mang earthquake, yung building mo magsisway lang. Parang monolithic sila, iisa. Actually, itong naka-yellow na to, pwedeng wag mo nang lagyan since basic residential lang siya. It's just a standard residential. However, para mas mas uniform yung movement niya or yung sturdiness niya, lagyan mo na lang dyan. Pero okay, mas okay if economically wise, kahit wag mo na lang lagyan itong part na to. So that's your FTB. So if mapapansin nyo yung paglagay ng labels, dapat pag tinignan mo yung plano, isang basahan lang. So pag ganitong direction. So, pag naglagay ka ng pag ganitong direction na text, ganyan na dapat lahat yung vertical mo. So, dito naman, yung FTB1, meaning lahat ng naka-FTB1, pare-parehas lang sila ng design tsaka nung bakal na nandoon. Pati dun sa FTB2. So, yung FTB2, ito, pare-parehas lang yung design nung FTB na yan or yung dami ng bakal na nandun. Kaya sila pare-parehas ng designation or ng label. Ito lang yung naiba kasi nakaslant siya sa FTB3. Okay? So, that's it. Yun na yung sample. Yun na yung simple na foundation plan. Tapos, you just need to do dimension. So, paano ka mag-dimension? Usually, ganito. From dito sa pinakalabas ng column and then dun sa gitna. Yun. And then again. Yan. Tapos yung overall. So, ganun lang. So, what if, for example, meron ditong wall. Meron kang wall dito. Naglagay ka ng wall dito. Anong gagawin mo? Yun naman yung tinatawag na wall footing. Meaning, bago ka maglagay ng iyong hollow blocks, kailangan mo muna ng wall footing. So, ito siya. Yan. WF1. So, ano yung usual na width ng wall footing? It's 0.4. So, yun yung usual width ng wall footing. So, ito, naka-hidden line na naman siya kasi that's below grade. So, ito, yung wall footing mo, that's below grade. And then, ito naman yung wall mo. That's your hollow blocks na. So, okay. Ganyan siya. Now, dumako naman tayo dito sa roof framing plan. So, ang roof framing plan, nandito na rin yung tinatawag na roof beam or yung mga biga ng iyong structure. Ito, pay attention kasi medyo mas complicated ito compared dito sa foundation plan. So, una, ito, na-reflect na ulit yung columns. Very important yan. Kasi nga, ito, from foundation to roof, nandyan si columns. First, ili-layout mo muna yung roof beam mo. So, i-on ko lang yung mga beams ko. Yan. Bakit ulit siya naka-hidden line dito sa drawing ko? Kasi nga, nasa baba siya ng iyong roofing. Kaya siya naka-hidden. So, ayan. Same lang sila ng ang tawag dito. Same lang sila ng purpose ni footing tie beam. Para lang siyang belt ng iyong columns, ng iyong structure. Para i-connect mo yung columns together. However, ito straight lang siya. Ditong part na to, pwede kang maglagay or ng intermediate beam or tatambulan na lang or yung ifo-false beam dito para lang siyang hindi mag-create ng void. Ito kasi pwede mo na siyang i-connect dito eh. Meron na siyang doweling dito. Magko-connect na siya dito sa RB3. So, ayan. So, i-connect, ulitin ko, yung roof beam, i-connect mo lang siya lahat. I-connect mo lang yung columns mo para maging monolithic din siya. So, RB meaning roof beam 1. So, parang parehas lang din. So, pag RB1, 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 meaning iisang design lang sila ng mga bakal and everything. Parehas din tong RB2, RB2. Ito lang sa RB3 yung naiba kasi nga separate tong entity na to sa yung sa carport. Siguro mas konti lang yung bakal nito or mas maliit yung size. So itong yellow line na to, ito na yung outline ng iyong roofing. And then i-on ko na yung itong part. So, ayan. Nag-offset tayo ng usually ginagamit na ngayon since prone to clogging yung mga gutter. Ginagawa nila mga 0.4 to 0.6. Tapos malalakas kasi din yung ulan. So, yan. 0.4 yung ginamit natin. So, SS gutter meaning stainless steel gutter. So, yan. Yung gutter natin. Next, dito muna tayo sa lower, okay. If meron ka ng gutter, kailangan mo mag-drawing ngayon ng trusses. Yan, naging complicated na siya. So, etong mga to, kokopyahin mo lang yung nailagay na layout ng mga hip trusses, ng mga hip part doon sa ito, this one. If you can see this one, saglit lang, let me just copy this part. Tsaka natin ilagay doon. Ano ba yun? Yan. So, ito yung roof design. Yung mga slope ng roof. So, ganyan mo siya makikita sa taas. However, yung structural nito, ganito siya. So, itong mga to, yan yung tinatawag na hip trusses. Ito no VT, valley trusses, and half truss ito. Yan, pag HT, half truss, hip 1, ayan, truss 1, 2, 3, 4. Usually, itong mga to, si half trusses, 1 meter. Ganon din dito. Yan, 1 meter. 1 meter yung offset nila, maliban na lang kung i-project mo dito, yung dito sa gitna nito. Nagva-vary yan. If mapapansin mo yung mga trusses, nagmi-meet sila into an usual endpoint, like for this one. Nag-meet sila dyan, nag-meet sila dyan, nag-meet sila. So, i-weld dyan. Yan, yan. See? Kita niyo yung pattern? Yan. So, tignan mo ito. Itong HT1, pag parehas yung label, meaning parehas sila ng size. Iisa lang yung detail niyan. So, HT1, iisang size. HT1 din yan, HT1. So, ito, HT3, HT3, HT4. So, meaning, lahat ng HT3, iisang sizing yan, HT4. And then, ito, kasi 1, 2, 3, 4, hindi sila pare-parehas ng size, kaya iba-iba yung label. And then, you label it this one, HT3 din ito. So, ayan, medyo complicated itong trusses na part. Kaya, usually, yung mga design ngayon, hindi na siya 4 aguas or 2 aguas kasi nga medyo complicated yung framing nito, lalo na itong si hip tsaka combination roofing. Pero this is very helpful para ma-practice nyo yung skill na to. Ito kasi ang isa ding challenge nito, ito dito, yung roofing natin dito sa carport, hindi siya slab roofing or hindi siya konkreto. It's actually i-on natin yung low roof. Yan, meron siyang GI, meron siyang corrugated na galvanized na roofing. Pero hidden siya, nakaparapet to, hidden siya, hindi siya nakikita from view. So, naka-slope siya pa ganun. Ito yung arrow, slope pa ganun. Andito yung gutter niya, nandito pa ganun yung downspout. Tapos, ito yung specification ng roofing na ginamit. Ito din yung specification ng purlins. So, if titignan mo to, naka-layout ka na ng iyong trusses, ang susunod is magli-layout ka ng yung rafters or yung purlins mo. Yan. Kita mo yung green. The green one. So, dito meron siyang, sabi niya, at 600 on center. So, on center. So, from dito, mag-offset ka from dito. From the SS gutter. Kasi nandyan na yung fascia board mo. That's 0.6. So, offset ka hanggang sa ma-reach mo yung peak doon. Ito and dito. So, makikita mong tama pag nagmi-meet yung mga lines, yung mga purlins mo. Tama yung ginagawa mo if etong mga to nagmi-meet sila into a one, like for example, like that one. If nagmi-meet sila into a certain endpoints. So, yan. Ganyan yung layouting ng roof framing for that project. So, yan. Madali lang siya gawin pag AutoCAD. But, same lang din naman yung principles ng CAD tsaka ng manual drafting eh. So, ayun siya. So, from this roofing, ito yung framing niya. There. If you are done with this structural plans, what are the details that you need? This is the column details. So you just adjust this drawing configuration based on the sizes that are present in your drawing. So we have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and the PC is your planted column. In here, you can also see, like for example, in this one, the column size is 0.25 by 0.40. The vertical bars is 8 pieces, 16 mm diameter rebar, and then the ties is 12 mm, 8 pieces at 100, rest at 200. You also need your column footing details. This is just the typical plan of the column footing, and this is the typical section of the column footing. Now we have a more detailed column footing design or drawing. It is also present in your reference PDF. So this is the projection of the 1.2 by 1.2 footing. So that's one. So ito yung naka-blue na yan yung mga bakal. Ito yung bend niya, meron siyang hook. Ganun din yan. Ito yung mga vertical na mga bakal. Tapos naka-bend yung ano niya for sturdiness purposes, yung mga ibang bakal naka-bend. Yan. Ganyan yung configuration niya. So ang specification nito is a 1.2 by 1.2 footing, and we have a 0.25 by 0.40 RC column, meaning reinforced concrete column, with 8 16 mm diameter vertical rebars, with 12 mm ties from support, 3 at 0.05, 3 at 0.10, 3 at 0.15, and rest at 0.20. So paano yon? We can see in here, ito yung section nung detail na yon. Makikita mo dito, meron siyang 0.05 na gravel bedding. This is your gravel bedding. Tapos ito, 0.4 yung depth or thickness ng footing natin. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, yun yung projection ng bend ng vertical. So ito yung vertical, ito yung ties. If mapapansin mo dito, tatlo naka-space at 0.05, tatlo din naka-space at 0.10, tatlo naka-space at 0.15, and the rest is 0.20. So ang depth ng footing na to is 1.20. So yan yung projection ng drawing na yon. So ito yung section. Another one is if nag-introduce ka ng wall footing dun sa design mo, you need a detail of the wall footing. And this is the typical na beam details. You just need to draw this one, to copy this one in your A3 drawing. You also need to provide truss details based doon sa roof framing plan. Ganito yung pag-drawing ng truss details. And these are the specification of the truss details. This one is an example of a retaining wall plan or detailing. So I will simulate the drawing or the structural in SketchUp in a 3D manner so that you can easily understand what we are going to do. So let me just hide this one. So this one is an example of your structural. So I have in here the projection or the simulation of ito yung gravel bedding, for example, the lower ground na to, yung nahukay na. And these are your simulated footing with the proper depth and the proper sizing. Tapos, ito na yung column projection. So, yan na yung column projection natin. And then, so this one is the simulation. Ito na yung ating finished floor line. We have the NGL for the green one. Tapos, ito yung projection ng ating footing tie beam. So, let me just hide this one. Yan. Yan na yung ating footing tie beam. Itong line na to. Yan yung representation kung paano gumawa ng footing tie beam. If you can see, na-connect na lahat ng mga columns for sturdier structure. Next is your roof beam. So, ito, mas mababa yung roof beams ng carport. And then, this one are the roof beams of the main structure. So, if mapapansin nyo, nag-connect lang din, na-connect lahat ng columns. So, nabubuo na yung ating structure. So, ito na yung pinaka-framing ng building mo. So, we have already the slab. slab and grade or slab and fill. And then, ito, roof beams natin, itong mga to. Now, let's move on doon naman sa kung ano itsura ng ating roof framing. So, ganyan. Based dun sa roof framing plan, ganyan yung itsura niya. Ito yung mga trusses natin, tapos itong mga horizontal dito. This one. Itong mga to, these are the purlin representation or your rafters. Tapos, ito naman, this one, ito na yung shift trusses representation. And so on and so forth. So, you can just visualize in here kung paano yung framing ng iyong roofing. Kung paano siya from here, from this framing doon sa structural, nagiging ganito yung itsura niya. Yan. So, if makikita mo dito, ito yung sinasabi ko na may roofing. Hindi to naka-slab dito sa carport, meron siyang low pitch na bubong dito. Naka-GI siya. So, yan, nakatago kasi meron siyang parapet. If makikita mo dito, nakatago, hindi mo makikita yung low pitch na bubong doon. Yan. Ito lang yung makikita mo. Yan, ito yung gutter mo. So, pag in top view mo siya, ganyan na siya. So, from in here, yung finish na itsura ng bahay, ganito yung structural niya. So that you can better understand kung paano ginagawa yung structural. So I simulated this one using SketchUp. Okay?